Welcome back, everyone, to the deep dive. This time we're going to be looking at a career that really blends creativity and technology.
Yeah,
Clothing Cad Technician.
that's right.
We're going to help prep you for that interview so you can really stand out as a top candidate.
It's interesting. This particular job, you're really the one that's bringing fashion designs to life.
Oh, wow.
Digitally, you can almost think of yourself as a virtual architect.
Okay.
But for clothing, you'll be using all kinds of software, 2D and 3D, to create the blueprints for garment construction.
Sounds like a dream job for anyone who loves fashion and tech, but
Yeah.
how do we make sure we're the one that gets picked?
Well, that's what we're here for, right?
Right.
We're going to break down all the common interview questions and then give you some strategies so you can just blow them away with amazing answers.
Love it. And we've got even more than that. We've
Yeah.
got a career guide to help us out with some extra insights.
Yes.
And we're going to be talking about RoleCatcher's AI and how that can help you tailor your answers to specific jobs.
I'm excited. Let's just jump right in.
Okay, let's do it.
One of the first questions you're probably going to get is, can you explain your experience with clothing design software?
Ooh, that is a big one.
It is, and this is really your time to shine,
Right.
to show off all of your technical skills.
Okay.
So be ready to discuss, your experience with different software programs like Adobe Illustrator,
Mm-hmm.
Photoshop, Gerber, but you don't just want to list them off. Right? You
Yeah.
really want to talk about specific projects where you use these tools and what were the results.
So, like, instead of just saying, I'm proficient in Illustrator,
Exactly.
you could say something like, I use Illustrator to create technical flats for a whole capsule collection.
Perfect.
And that really helped streamline communication with the production team,
Mm.
and it actually reduced sample revisions by 15%.
Now you're showing them that you understand the software and you know how to apply it to real-world problems.
Exactly.
And this is where RoleCatcher can come in and really help you. Because it's AI can actually go through the job description and tell you which software programs are the most important for that role.
Wow.
So you're not just, throwing out a bunch of programs. You're really focused on what they're looking for.
Yeah, super tailored.
Exactly.
Okay, that's brilliant.
Yeah, so then be ready for follow-up questions too,
Yeah, follow-up questions.
Like, which software are you most comfortable with and why? Or can you walk me through a design process using, a particular software?
Okay, so be ready to go into detail.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to another one that I feel like is really common.
Okay.
How do you ensure accuracy in your technical drawings?
Oh, this one's all about attention to detail.
Right, yeah.
You really want to express how committed you are to precision.
And it's interesting. The career guide that we're using for this episode
Yes.
emphasizes that design knowledge in this role is actually more important than mathematics.
Interesting.
It is. So it's not just about drawing pretty pictures.
Nope.
It's about understanding the technical aspects of it.
Right, because these are blueprints for
Uh-huh.
constructing the garment, and every measurement, seam allowance, detail has to be perfect.
Okay. So how would you suggest somebody approaches this question in an interview?
Well, just like we were talking about with the software, you really want to walk them through the process that you take.
Okay.
Is there a specific checklist that you go through? Do you have certain tools or software features that you use to kind of double check your work? Maybe you compare all of your drawings to the original design sketches,
Right.
but tell them about that. Tell them how you go about it.
And I bet it would be helpful to have a story or an example.
Exactly.
Something like, oh, I caught a critical error in a sleeve pattern once, and it would have affected the fit of the whole garment.
Oh, yeah.
But because I double-checked my measurements and I compared it to the tech pack,
Yeah.
I was able to correct it before it went to production, saving the company time and money.
That's a great example. You're showing that you have a system and that you are proactive in trying to prevent costly mistakes.
Exactly.
And be ready for them to follow up with something like, can you give me another example of a time where you caught a critical error?
Oh,
They really want to know that attention to detail is ingrained in how you work.
they want to know that it's a habit. It's not just a one-off.
Exactly.
Okay, great tip. All right, let's shift gears a little bit.
Okay.
And let's talk about the fashion side of things.
All right.
Can you explain your knowledge of garment construction techniques?
Oh, yeah. This is a good one.
What are they looking for here?
They want to see that you understand how those designs on the computer translate into a real garment.
Okay.
So this is where your knowledge of flat pattern making and draping, seam allowances, and different construction methods all come into play.
So you'd want to mention your experience with all the different techniques
Yeah.
and how they apply to different types of garments.
Absolutely. And, the career guide also advises that you stay updated on current trends and fabric innovations. Oh, okay.
So if you can mention that you are actively learning and expanding your knowledge, that's a great way to show initiative.
So you could say something like, oh, I recently took a course on zero waste pattern cutting,
Love that.
and I'm really excited to explore how I can integrate those sustainable techniques into my CAD work.
Perfect. And be ready for them to follow up with, how would you approach designing a garment with complex draping using CAD software?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, they're really trying to see if you can combine your technical skills with your understanding of garment construction.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
Okay, let's
Right.
tackle the time management question.
Oh, yeah. Everybody's favorite.
This one always comes up.
Always.
How do you manage multiple projects simultaneously?
This one is all about organization
Okay.
and being able to prioritize.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the career guide actually mentions that this work environment
Yeah.
can be really fast-paced,
Okay.
and there's lots of deadlines.
So being able to handle that pressure
Yeah.
and juggle multiple things is key. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So when you're answering this question, you want to be specific
Okay.
about your methods.
Okay.
Do you use a project management system? Do you prioritize your tasks based on the deadline or how complex they are?
Right.
Do you have any strategies for staying focused and avoiding distractions?
That's a good point.
Yeah.
And I bet RoleCatcher's AI could come in handy here as well, because it can analyze job descriptions and
Absolutely.
kind of give you insights into the environment and the
Yes.
demands of that role.
Yes, exactly.
And so knowing what they're looking for can help you tailor your answer even more.
Absolutely. And be ready for those follow-up questions too.
Yeah.
Like, describe a time you had to juggle conflicting deadlines. How did you manage it?
Yeah.
Having those specific anecdotes ready to go will really show that you can handle the pressure.
You can deliver under pressure.
That's right.
Okay, so far so good. I feel like this is all really helpful.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about the bigger picture for a second. How do you ensure your technical drawings are production ready?
Ooh.
This seems like it's a step beyond just the design itself.
This question is all about showing that you understand the whole process of creating a garment
From start to finish.
in the very beginning to the end.
Okay.
So you want to mention, things like grading rules marker making.
Okay.
Anything that ensures that your designs can actually be produced accurately and efficiently.
Right. And RoleCatcher can come in handy here again, because its AI can analyze the job description
Yes.
and give you those production requirements.
Yes.
So then you know exactly what to say to target that role specifically.
Exactly. And don't be surprised if they say, what steps would you take if you discovered a design flaw that might impact production?
Ooh.
They want to see that you can problem solve
Mm-hmm.
and that you can think critically about how your work impacts the whole process.
That makes sense. Okay, I feel like we're on a roll.
We are.
This is great. All right, let's talk 3D design.
Oh, yes.
Can you explain your experience with 3D design software?
This is a big one.
I feel like this is a skill that's becoming more and more important
It is.
in the industry.
It is, and the career guide actually mentions that. Because
Definitely.
3D printing technology is becoming more popular,
Right.
it's really transforming how we design and make clothes.
So having experience with 3D design software is like a huge plus.
Huge plus. If you worked with programs like CLO or Browseware,
Mm-hmm.
you want to highlight your experience with those
Okay.
and talk about specific projects that you worked on. And don't be afraid to really, show your enthusiasm for this technology.
Like, I'm passionate about 3D design.
Yes.
Because it allows for so much more precision, it reduces waste, and it opens up all these exciting possibilities for virtual fashion experiences.
Yes, exactly. And you might get a follow-up question like, how do you see 3D design transforming the fashion industry in the future?
Ooh, that's a good one.
It gives you a chance to show that you're forward-thinking and that you understand the impact of this technology.
Yeah. That's a great point to end on for part one. I feel like we've covered so much.
I know, it's so much information.
And there's more to come.
There is. We'll be right back with part 2, and we'll have even more tips and strategies to help you land that job.
Awesome. Can't wait.
Okay, so, we were just talking about all those important questions that come up in an interview for a Clothing Cad technician.
It's a lot to remember.
It is, but practice makes perfect,
Definitely. It's not about memorizing answers. It's about really understanding those concepts.
Exactly.
And then being able to explain your experience clearly and concisely.
Yes, that's a great point.
Right.
Okay, so let's move on to a question that I think really highlights the communication part of this job.
Okay.
Being able to explain those design details effectively. Can you explain your experience creating technical packages?
Ooh, yeah. those technical packages, they're essential for that communication between design and production.
They really are, because a well-crafted technical package makes sure that everyone involved in making that garment is literally on the same page. It includes everything, the sketches, measurements, fabric specs, construction details, even labeling and packaging instructions.
Wow, that's a lot.
It is, but it's all important to make sure that that production process goes smoothly.
So when you're answering this question,
Yeah.
what should you really be focusing on?
Well, you want to highlight your experience creating all the different parts of a technical package.
Okay.
So things like spec sheets, bills of materials, measurement charts, all of that.
And show that you really understand industry standards.
Yes, definitely. And this is where RoleCatcher comes in.
Oh, yeah.
Because they have interview guides for all these skills that are related, like pattern making and grading. So you can really go deep on every part of your experience and prepare for even more questions.
It's like having a secret weapon.
It is. It really is.
I love it. Okay. So what about follow-up questions for this topic?
Well, they might ask you something like, what's the most challenging part of creating a technical package? Or how do you make sure that all the information is accurate and up to date?
Okay, so it's all about those details.
It really is, and it gives you a chance to show off how you problem solve.
Right, and your attention to detail again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's shift gears and talk about staying ahead of the curve.
Okay, because the fashion industry changes so quickly.
It does. It's always evolving.
So how do you stay up to date with the latest trends?
Well, this is a question that comes up a lot, because interviewers want to know how passionate you are and if you're committed to always learning new things.
And it's interesting because the career guide we're looking at mentions sustainability.
Yes.
And ethical production being big focuses right now.
Yes, very important. So when you're answering this question, you don't just want to mention those buzzwords.
Right.
You really want to give concrete examples of how you stay informed.
Okay.
So do you read industry publications?
Mm-hmm.
Do you go to trade shows or watch webinars?
Oh.
Do you follow designers on social media? Be specific and show that you are genuinely interested in what's happening in the industry.
Yeah. And maybe share something you read or learned recently that was really interesting.
Yes, exactly. Like you could say, I just read this great article about a new biodegradable fabric made from seaweed.
Oh, wow.
And I'm excited to see how that can be used in fashion design.
That's a great example.
Yeah. And be ready for those follow-up questions, too.
Yeah,
like, what's the most exciting recent development in fashion tech? Or how do you think a particular trend is going to impact this role?
Okay, so you're ready to go into detail.
You got it.
Okay, this is great. All right, let's move on to a very technical skill that I think is essential for any clothing CAD technician.
Okay.
Can you explain your experience with pattern grading?
Oh, yeah, this is a big one.
This one's crucial.
It is, because you're creating different sizes of the same garment.
Right.
While making sure the proportions and the fit are still good.
Right.
It's so important for making sure clothes fit all different kinds of body types.
So I imagine that attention to detail is super important here.
Super important. Be ready to talk about different grading techniques.
Okay.
Like cut and spread or computer grading. And you want to highlight that you're good at using the industry standard software.
Okay.
Maybe share an example of a time where you had to grade a really tricky pattern and how you did it. And RoleCatcher can help here, too.
Oh, how so?
They have practice questions.
Oh, wow.
Tailored to each of these skills.
Okay.
So you can practice answering those specific questions about grading.
And get feedback.
Yes. Get feedback from the AI so you can refine your answers.
I love that personalized feedback.
It's great. Okay. So as far as follow-up questions go, be ready for them to ask you to describe that process of grading a complex pattern.
Okay.
Or how you make sure that everything is accurate and consistent.
So again, it goes back to that precision and attention to detail.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, awesome. All right, let's wrap up this section with a question that I think really emphasizes teamwork.
Okay.
How do you collaborate with other departments, such as production and design?
Oh, this is a good one.
Because as a clothing CAD technician, you're not working in a silo.
No, you're not. You're working with everybody you know.
Right.
The designers, the pattern makers, the production team, even clients.
So communication and collaboration are super important.
Essential. And the career guide actually points this out.
Okay.
It says that you really need to be able to work effectively with all these different teams.
So how would you suggest somebody answers this question?
Well, you want to focus on your ability to communicate clearly, to listen actively, and to build positive relationships with people from all those different departments.
Okay.
Be ready to share specific examples
Okay.
of times when you've collaborated successfully in the past.
Mhm.
Highlight how you've resolved conflicts, negotiated solutions, and really contributed to a positive team environment.
So maybe describe a situation where you worked with a designer to adapt a design so it was actually feasible for production.
Perfect. That's a great example. It shows that you understand that you're part of a team
Right.
and that you can find solutions that work for everybody.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm feeling so much more prepared just from these two parts
Me too.
of this deep dive.
Yeah.
I feel like I can take on any interview question now.
That's what we want to hear.
Okay, so we've really gone in depth on some key strategies and skills for acing that interview for a Clothing Cad technician.
We have. It's been amazing.
Yeah, and we talked about showcasing your technical expertise. We talked about that bigger picture of the whole garment creation process.
Yes, very important.
Of course, we talked about how RoleCatcher's AI can really help you tailor your answers and practice with that personalized feedback.
It's a game changer.
Absolutely. But before we go, I want to leave our listeners with one final thought.
Okay, I like it.
What unique skills or experiences can you bring to a fashion tech team?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Right, because it's so easy to get caught up in those expected skills.
Yeah,
But what makes you stand out are those things that really set you apart.
exactly.
So maybe you have a background in graphic design or engineering, and that gives you this unique perspective on problem solving.
That's a great example.
Or maybe you are super passionate about sustainable fashion.
Yeah.
And you've been taking all these courses on eco-friendly materials and production methods.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe you have experience with a particular CAD software
Mm-hmm.
that's really niche, but perfect for the company that you're applying for.
Yes.
Whatever it is, make sure you highlight those things
Yes, don't be shy.
that make you unique.
Exactly.
Because this is your chance to show off who you are.
Yeah, let your personality shine.
Why you'd be such a great asset to their team.
And remember, you're not just a list of skills on a piece of paper.
Right.
You are a creative person with a unique perspective, and you are passionate about fashion tech.
Yes, let that shine.
Let it shine through in the interview.
I love that. Well, I really hope that this deep dive has given you the knowledge, the strategies, that confidence
Yes.
to rock that interview.
Go get them.
And of course, don't forget to check out RoleCatcher for those incredible AI-powered tools
It's amazing.
that can help you take your job search to that next level.
Best of luck, you got this.
We can't wait to see what you create.